Off the Hook, airing on offthehooksports.com, your home for real news, real opinions, and what really matters about Tennessee athletics. The Off the Hook podcast at offthehooksports.com or Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or wherever you go for your favorite podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, iHeart. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Off the Hook with Dave Hooker starts now.
Jacob Warren on the Vol Report, brought to you by Bassey Lawn and Garden as he's shifting around his, what was that, your hoodie? You look great. You made it just in time. I saw the shift around.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Trying to look right for everybody here.
I want to remind everybody to like and subscribe so we can bring you more from Jacob Warren and, of course, Cooper Mays. And we've got some more additions we're excited about. Also, Chris Landry of LandryFootball.com. John Adams of the Knoxville News Sentinel with Josh Ward. We've got a lot. And then our daily show with Amanda LaFrada, who has picked up the new nickname, Hottie LaFrada. But anyway, like and subscribe. That's all I'm going to say about that, Jacob. And I'm just going to leave that be because I could get myself in HR trouble since I guess technically I own the company. Go. Yeah, so it was the listener who gave her the name. Her name is Amanda to me, and I'm going to leave it at that. Jacob, let me ask you about camp so far. It's kind of one of those things where you can do all you want to. You can get ready in the off season, but ultimately the human body was not designed to play football. And it is going to make you sore and fatigued after 4 days of camp. How are you feeling, brother?
For sure. I feel, like you said, as you would expect to feel. Muscles are achy, obviously, because, we've done more running, more hitting, and just holding your head up with that helmet on your head is just, is hard in itself. And then you actually have to run around and hit other people with it and stuff. So, obviously the body feels, like you said, after 4 days of playing football, that's how it should feel. So, but yeah, it's just a matter of getting in the training room and trying to make sure everything's good, make sure everything's still clicking, chiropractic adjustments and stuff like that, and just trying to get ready for the next day.
The most annoying thing that people say, that fans say, and I'm not just talking about Tennessee all fans, but this annoys me to no end, and it has to you as well, or you just laugh it off, is when they say, I could have done that. I'm like, no, you really don't realize the difference in level. And so somebody said this to me at the gym the other day, and it's like, oh, I could be as good as him. I said, I'll tell you what, why don't you fall down 40 times and get back up, and you and I can meet in 24 hours at this very same place at the gym, and you tell me how you feel.
And just fall. Don't even be hit and knocked to the ground. Just fall on the ground and see how you feel. No, yeah, it's obviously that comment is very prevalent, and it happens a lot, and it's easy to say whenever you'll never find out how hard it is. And obviously I can't do anything about it because I'm doing it. So I don't know, if you want to say that, then you can. But I think people that really understand have a different level of respect and appreciation for how our bodies must feel the next day.
I offered the guy an Off the Hook Sports t-shirt. That's as far as I would go. But I was close to dipping into the bank account and saying, $100, let me watch you fall 40 times, and I'll talk to you tomorrow afternoon.
Right. Yeah. We'll see how you feel.
Yeah, it's not going to be good. So along those lines, the thing that I'm asked about a lot is Joe Milton, because of the way he jumped out of bounds at Ole Miss, and they have confidence in him. And everybody says, oh, I'd know even better to do that. Well, you're in the heat of battle. Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. But I'm curious the team's confidence in him, the way that unfolded, and the fact that Hendon Hooker was able to bench him. I know that he has an awful lot of ability, but at the end of the day, Jacob, his teammates have to believe in him. Can you describe kind of the thought process there?
Yeah, it's. I think this is probably something I've talked about before. Joe is very much the guy himself. You know what I mean? He's got the charisma, he's got the confidence, he's got the like you said, the ability. He's a smart player. Obviously, that was an instance where, it's something that, like you said, in the heat of battle, he might have not made the correct decision, or you can't do that on the last play, obviously, right? And he knows that. He's completely aware of that, and I don't think that really changed a lot, at least on the offensive side of the ball. Like for us, it didn't change the way we looked at him, didn't change the way we thought about him as a player. Every day he performs at practice, and he, you know, makes big throws. He can do the checkdowns. He can have the little soft touch passes over the middle. We're on the same page. You know, whether I'm repping with him or with Hendon, like, um, it's cool to be able to almost feel like there's no difference. You know what I mean? Like they're both back there. Either one of them, I know. You know, say this is a cover two picture, and I know this pocket in the defense is open. I'm going to go ahead and sit down and try to just see if he feel, you know, if we're on the same page, and he can hit me with the ball. And that's exactly how it is with both of them, because they're both really, really good students in the game. And yeah, no, there's no lapse in confidence, at least as far as I'm concerned, with either of them.
The accuracy and the touch passes, that's what I want to ask you about with Joe and his progression, brought to you by Bassey Lawn and Garden. The Vol report wouldn't be possible with Jacob Warren without Bassey Lawn and Garden. So go to Bassey Lawn and Garden, where they've got everything that you need: commercial mowers, residential, hedgers, trimmers. Vassey.com. Man alive, it's worth the drive. Toro, count on it, no question. So the touch passes, the accuracy is something that I believe it was Joey Hazel that Housel that referenced that. It may have been somebody else. It may have been Josh Heupel. But nevertheless, that's something that Joe Milton has been tasked with working on in the offseason. Have you seen a difference, an improvement in accuracy, and in particular the touch passes?
Yeah, I mean, I guess kind of like I mentioned earlier, like the way, obviously there's different throws that quarterbacks have to make. There's the long ball, obviously, where he's kind of got to drop it into the basket. There's the check downs to running backs, to tight ends. There's the ball across the middle. And then, like you said, you have these passes where it's like, you know, he kind of have to go over one and down, drop it down in between multiple people. Or, you know, you got a guy, say a tight end in the flat, right? And it's just a quick little, you know, 10-yard throw. You don't really have to throw it real hard at him. You kind of just have to get it out there with some pace, whatever, so he can go make a play. And yeah, like that's something that he's obviously been working on, because obviously the few plays that kind of went out there to show that people think he can't do that, right? The overthrows that you see early in the season, and the lack of touch here and there. Obviously, I think probably challenged him a lot to be able to make those throws. And I feel like I've seen it in practice so far, about how just he's able to make all the throws on the field, and obviously has the arm strength to make all of them, but knows how to kind of tone it down sometimes too.
So goodness knows this is a much lower level, but when I'm live on the air, when I've been live on the air, I have said stupid things. It happens. Be it an accidental mistake or a prediction that looked really, really dumb 24 hours later. So I've been in that position, not like Joe was, or he bounced out of bounds, or not like you are when you're in a game, but I do know that there can be a little bit more pressure there. And I'm curious, when you look back over your entire career, is there one play that stands out? And Cooper shared one with me where he had an interception as a defensive lineman, and he just went to the ground instead of running 50 yards easily to score a touchdown. That was his. And I'm curious if you've got one, even going back to high school, that there's this player like, Dad, blame it, Jacob. What were you thinking? Or you say to yourself, that wasn't the best move.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's obviously, I don't know if there's a particular one, but there's multiple I can think of where, you know, I just read something completely wrong on a route, and just go out. Like say I have a little hook route or something, or an option route, and you know, when you're out there, it's kind of, you know, your eyes are all over the place. You're trying to focus on what you need to focus on, and like there's one very clear option. Like say I needed to go out away from the leverage, and I broke in, and then you go back to the film, and you're like, what was I thinking? Like that happened a couple times last year, where like, and you're just like, what was I thinking? How did I not see all this grass over here? Run to the grass, go get the ball, go score. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of different instances like that, but I don't know. I guess nothing specific really stands out.
Do you know it when you do it? like during or after that play, you're like, bleep, I'm gonna hear about this on Monday or Sunday?
Usually, yeah, you know pretty quick whenever you make a mistake like that, and luckily sometimes it's not detrimental to a play or detrimental to a game or whatever, but you definitely know it pretty quickly after. You're like, wow, that was pretty stupid.
Okay, so I want to give you the ability to totally cleanse here. You can release anything that may be a regret from last year. Was there any time that you broke the wrong way that resulted in an interception?
um Not to my knowledge. I'm pretty sure Hendon only threw like 3 the whole year,
Right.
but it might have been. There might have been one there, maybe. I don't know. I don't think I was involved in any of them, hopefully. But no, Hendon's very efficient with the ball, so um, haven't had to worry about it too much.
That has to be the worst feeling, though, because everybody, 99%, are going to blame the quarterback. Whereas if a receiver runs the wrong route, the quarterback may have thrown it to the right spot.
For sure. It happens all the time. And there's times where, it's the same thing where, the offensive line didn't ID it the right way. And so now there's pressure and now he's got to get the ball out early. There's so many different things that the quarterback's going to get a lot of praise whenever the team does well, and the quarterback's going to take a lot of the slack whenever the team doesn't, or there's mistakes. And so it's just part of being in the position, I guess.
Yeah, it's part of being a teammate and being able to look the other way and go ahead and snap and clear. I'm curious, and I don't really like that phrase because the first person I heard say it was one of former Tennessee coach, and that didn't treat his players well. But we won't get into that. But that snap and clear mentality is something that kind of stuck with me. Because if you make a mistake, you've got to immediately let it go, right? Or if you do something great, you've got to let that go.
Yeah, and that's the part of being like a competitor, right? You have to understand that, first of all, like you have to understand the people you're playing against every week. Those guys are on scholarship. Those guys were, top people in their class, top 100, best player in Kansas, wherever they're from, right? Like you're playing good people too. So it's not like you should just go out there and just be able to just physically just run all over people unless, there's different levels, right? But that's the first thing. But then the second thing is like, yeah, like people are going to make mistakes. Guys are going to make mistakes. I'm going to see the read wrong and I'm going to go in instead of going out. But if I'm constantly thinking about, I made that wrong thing, like, man, I'm mad at myself, like whatever, then obviously that's going to bleed into the next play and the next play. And so maybe the next time they call that play, I'm thinking about how I messed it up last time instead of how I'm going to do it right this time. And I think obviously that mentality is super important to have at quarterback, but that's across the board. That's for the whole team. And that's something I think just in competition you learn pretty quickly, or at least I hope you do, but especially in football, just because of the physical nature of the game. I get knocked on my butt, like, wow, okay, let's shake that one off and let's get back up and let's go try to put him on his back. You know what I mean? Like you can't think of it as being defeated or whatever. You kind of just have to take every play as itself and just play each one independently and hope that you can string them all together and do something good.
So here's the deal with Jacob that I know. Jacob absolutely blocks like John Hanna. I'm going to go way back in time. Back the old Alabama, maybe the best Did you realize the best offensive lineman and arguably the best defensive lineman are from the same city in Chattanooga? John Hanna and Reggie White. Pretty weird, huh? In
That's
Chattanooga.
Weird.
In Chattanooga.
Cool. Yep. Shout out Chattanooga.
Yeah, you never would have thought that. So I'll be driving down Reggie White Boulevard later this afternoon, as a matter of fact. So we know what you're doing when you're running the ball. You're blocking and you're manhandling people and you're just blowing open these wide holes. And then we know what you're doing when you go out and you're catching passes. You're getting wide open. You're making athletic plays. You're hurdling people. You're using the circle button. You're spinning and you're scoring touchdowns. But how much?
All that.
It's exactly. It's all that. It's all that. But exactly what percentage of your job is pass protection? How often do you stay in because you may see an extra blitzer or you may see a shift where you need to stay in and make sure the Hendon Hooker doesn't get hit.
Yeah, that's actually a very large part of our responsibilities. I think I don't know, that's seen more of like an O-line thing, but obviously the way that we play, very fast, very up tempo. So there could be drives where I'm in the box the whole entire time, and it's from run play to a pass play, but not all pass plays am I out running routes, right? I'm sometimes in the box and doing protections, and we have different protections. Obviously, sometimes we're on D linemen, sometimes we're on linebackers. Sometimes our only job is to make sure that there's, like you said, there's no extra blitzers, and if there's no extra blitzers, then we can go run a route, right? We can check down. But no, that's a very big part of our game and of our offense is having extra elements in our protections. So whether it's the running back, whether it's the tight end, just being able to handle all situations, different checks and things that we have that can get us in the right spot. And so yeah, that's a bigger part than people really, I think, realize or think about.
I agree. Back in 30 seconds, I'm going to ask Jacob Warren what he thinks about a potential future star for Tennessee, but it's early, Justin Williams-Thomas, who seems like a 28 or 32-year-old man already, but he's just like 18. 30 seconds, yeah. We talk Tennessee tailback.
To own the more that owns every job, then get to Vassey Lawn and Garden in Cleveland and get you a Toro. I'm David Vassey, here to talk to you about Toro. With a Toro Zero Turn, you'll get more out of every minute and you'll reach the finish line faster. At Vassey's, we like to say, no matter if you're mowing 3 acres a week or 11 lawns a day, homeowners and business owners alike find confidence in equipment they can trust from top to bottom.
Vassey Lawn and Garden, Highway 60 North in Cleveland.
Man alive, it's worth the drive.
All right, I like Jabari Small a lot. I like several of the other tailbacks, but you know who's going to get the most pub, and that's the highly rated guy who comes in that already looks like he's a 24-year-old man in the NFL. And I was very impressed by his maturity when he talked to the media. I mean, he came business-like approach is what popped out in my mind. Like he came there to do his interviews, and then he was going to go do his workouts, or he's going to do whatever he needed to do. And he just seemed like he had that pragmatic sort of feel to him. What do you think of what Justin Williams-Thomas has been able to do at tailback so far?
Yeah, he's definitely that way when it comes to like things like that. Like you said, the media and meetings and workouts and stuff, very locked in. But he's also still an 18-year-old kid and really likes just goofing around and hanging out and cracking jokes and whatever it may be. So he's definitely not this like, big-headed, freshman, right. Whatever, however many stars he was. I don't know. But kind of came in and just kind of got acclimated pretty quickly and is one of those guys that's really outgoing and makes it easy for some of the people that are already here to kind of get to know him. And obviously, like you said, a very physically blessed person, right? He's a big back, obviously strong guy, runs the ball really hard, runs really well. I think we'll obviously learn his role, I guess, in the backfield, if that's what you want to call it, but we'll be very good in tandem with Jabari, with Jalen, with we got a couple young backs, and there's another back, Patrick Wilk, no one really knows about. One of our walk-ons, he runs the ball really well. Dylan Sampson, our new guy, one of our new guys, runs the ball really well. Hunter Barnes runs the ball really well. So I'm just super excited that we've got depth in that room now and that we're going to be able to they'll be able to do a lot of things and stay fresh. And Justin will obviously be a really big part of that.
Well, you had some dude that just showed up from West Virginia, which sounds like the title of a Johnny Cash song.
Right, doesn't it? Yeah, obviously, Lynn J, he was actually being recruited here at Tennessee with me in 2017. Right. And then was a part of that class, ended up changing his commitment, going to Clemson, and obviously was running for Clemson for a while, like for a couple of years, and was behind Travis Etienne and got his reps when he did, made a bunch of big plays. They made that playoff run. I think they might have won the championship that year, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was the year before. But regardless, was a part of a couple of really good Clemson teams. And Obviously was at West Virginia for a little bit and ended up here. So now, obviously, like I said, just so much depth in that room, and hopefully he can come in and can learn really quickly because the offense, especially at running back, could be it can be complicated, but it can also be simplified, is all I'll say. So hopefully he's able to simplify it and learn it really quick and kind of get the groove of everything and fit into the team well.
Everybody wants to talk about how he runs the ball, but with Justin Williams-Thomas, let me ask you how he's doing in pass protection. Because, listen, the bottom line is he could be Barry Sanders running the ball. And if you can't protect Hendon Hooker in this passing game, I don't know that you're going to get on the field nearly as much.
Right, yeah, and that's one thing that I want to, like, I'm not the coach, but I think one thing that the coaches want to see from the backs is just, like, a fearlessness, right? It's, all right, this 3 technique who weighs 320 pounds, swim moved our guard, got off the block. Are you going to stay in there? Are you going to take that hit off the quarterback? Are you going to, try to take his legs out? Are you going to try to square him up? And, you know what I mean? Like, it's a matter of just doing what you have to do when you're back there because you understand that, quarterback's the most, not like really as a person, but like the quarterback is the most valuable player on the field, right? For us. He is the one that runs the offense. He is the one that leads everything, and he must be protected at all costs. And so I think just going to try to start seeing what throughout camp, if he's willing to, which I know he will be, but willing to just step in there and do what he has to do and use his big body to put himself on the line, I guess, for the team and for the quarterback and for the offense. So I think he will, and I know he'll be just fine because he's got good guys to look up to. Jabari's really good. Jabari's the same way now. Jabari put on some weight, so I was talking with him yesterday. He's like, man, I kind of like hitting people now. Like when I was small,
wow.
I don't really like it. You know what I mean? I always want to juke people. Now I just want to hit everybody. So Jabari's a good guy to look up to in that room, and they'll definitely get right for sure.
And then Dylan Sampson. Other than speed, what does he bring to the table? How would you describe his first few days?
He's super shifty. Just the way he can like make cuts in a hole, right? He's not a very big person. He's pretty small guy. He's a smaller back, really fast, but in the hole, right? Say it's the B gap. He's running through the B gap. You've got about 2-3 yards to work with, right? Depending on how much movement the offensive line's got. And then there's a linebacker sitting there waiting to tackle you, right? Or a fitting safety, whoever it is. And just the way that he's able to, press his blocks and, make a quick jump cut in a hole that's only, 5-6 feet wide. It's pretty cool to see. And especially as a young back, like I mentioned, like pressing, setting up your blocks pretty much is what they call it. So essentially pressing the A gap and manipulating the defensive line, manipulating that linebacker, and then split second jumping into the B gap, which is where he wants to end up running, and then it being able to accelerate out of it. And he's shown that he's able to do that, and that's really cool to see from a young back. And hopefully he'll just continue to grow, get bigger, stronger, faster, and be just like Jabari, just like all the other guys that we got.
So be honest with me. If at some point a defensive player says, "Look, it's a squirrel," will that make you giggle at that very moment? Because I got yes.
Oh yeah, squirrel. Squirrel adds a funny element because he is just like we have a lot of speed on this team right now, and he is so fast, and it just amazes me. I think I've talked about this too. It amazes me because I will never be able to run that fast, and I'm okay with that. But like just the way like you watch the quarterbacks put the ball up in the air. Like, wow, that's going really far. Like he might have overthrown that. And then just watching him, watching Jalen Hyatt, watching Jimmy Callaway, watching Jimmy Holiday, watching them just run these balls down is just like amazing to me. So yeah, it's like a little squirrel running across the field, his little legs moving real fast. So it's cool though.
Yeah, I'm ready for that. Instead of Omaha like Peyton Manning used to do, I want to see Tennessee's opposing defense to say, "Look, a squirrel." That's squirrel. Squirrel.
Squirrel's right there.
He's Jacob Warren. Take a second to congratulate you on the Danny Werfel nomination. That was super cool because it's not just about playing good football. It's about being a good person, a good citizen off the field. So congratulations, man. I wasn't surprised to see you on that list at all.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.